Hi, my name's Tom Brady. I'm the former mayor of Bullhead City. Well, the idea has been in my mind probably long before I was mayor because I'm familiar with Veterans Park, and it was built by Veterans United, mostly through volunteer efforts. And it's a beautiful park, and it's designed at the very far end of the park is a huge circle. It was always intended that some sort of a showpiece, artillery piece, or some sort of military piece would be there. So when I became mayor, I started searching as to what we could do to fill that space. And it wasn't until September of 2019 that we really learned how the process works. We submitted an application to acquire a piece. We were like 160 on the waiting list, so we didn't have much hopes of getting anything. And what we learned was that the pieces were not available because the Army, in their disposal, no longer saved things for parks and monuments and things of the sort. They basically destroyed them in firepower demonstrations. So we weren't hopeful that we would get anything unless another organization was willing to turn something back in. We were told nothing was available, and then all of a sudden, a year or so later, the person who was in charge of the disposal unit in Detroit, he saw our request and he started inquiring further about what might be available, and he learned of this Howitzer being at the Army National Guard in the Phoenix area. And this Howitzer had kind of fallen off the records. Nobody even knew it was there. And they called us and said, we're going to move you to the top of the list because we know you're willing to pay for the decommissioning and transport costs. So that's how we got involved, and that's how we were able to acquire it. The representative in Detroit worked with the Army National Guard, and he said that you guys might be lucky. We might be able to actually get it decommissioned for you and possibly even get it painted, which is not part of their normal program. Normally, the way the program works is that you get a piece in whatever shape it is, you transport it home, you get it all set up the way you're required to do. And in this case, the Army National Guard down in the Phoenix area was very cooperative, and they said they would do it for us. All we had to do was provide the paint. So the Bullhead City spent about $450 on paint for it, and the Army National Guard, they saved us probably about $20,000 in just the work that they did. In addition to that, we were required to transport it. They don't transport things for you. So our city manager, Toby Cotter, called Anthony from A&G Towing and said, could you help us out? And he said, for the veterans, I would be happy to do anything that you need. A&G Towing sent a crew of 5 people down to the Phoenix area when the Howitzer was ready to be moved. And they sent like 4 vehicles down. They had a whole team, and they were able to transport it back to Bullhead City for us free of charge. This Howitzer still had not been fully decommissioned, which would have been our responsibility had the Army National Guard not stepped in and said they would take care of it. They took the engine out of it, which would have been expensive. They welded the barrel shut. They welded all the doors shut. They stripped the whole thing, sandblasted it, and then painted it. We got a showpiece delivered to us basically free of charge. It's funny, I was down there for a conference, and Toby Cotter, the city manager, and I went out and looked at it while they were working on it, and we brought a few cases of beer for the guys who were working on it. Then Toby saw it, and he was highly impressed with it. We wanted to have it back here for Veterans Day, and it worked out that the Army National Guard was able to complete the process just before Veterans Day. So we went down the week of Veterans Day, and we knew we had the Veterans Day parade coming up. So we basically delivered it the day before the parade. I don't think anybody even saw it come into town for the most part. And we decided that we would surprise the community with the Veterans Day parade. So we kind of hid it behind the big lots. It was parked behind in their loading area. And when the parade started, we kind of just jumped in the middle of the parade to show the community our newest achievement. It felt great. I've been participating in the Veterans Parade for many, many years, and we've never had any kind of float, if you will, such as this. So when it went down the street, it was amazing to see the looks on the faces of all the people lining the street watching the parade to see this howitzer going down the street with me and the incoming mayor on top of it and the city council following behind. We've had to work diligently with the Public Works Department to basically create a road at Veterans Memorial Park to get it there. Because if you're familiar with the way the park is set up, we only had a walking path that was surrounded on both sides with some of the different memorials that we have. So we basically had to create a new road, and that meant moving a few of the memorials and stabilizing a road where, you know, the ground wouldn't shift and it rolled into the river. Public Works Department did a bang-up job on preparing the area for the arrival of the howitzer. Well, my story's done, but I was there to watch it transported back. I was there to watch it in the parade, and I was there when it was delivered to the memorial. And I can't thank A&G Towing for all their work. And our Public Works Department was terrific in doing all of the work necessary to get it out there. And now it sits there, and it'll be there probably for decades to come. Thank you.